This is Access Tech Live, live from Vienna, Austria, for the Zero Project Conference with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo, the latest in tech and accessibility. Follow us now and get involved at Access Tech Live.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Access Tech Live. We are live from the Zero Project Conference in Vienna. I am Stephen Scott. Marc Aflalo is literally by my side. How are you, Marc?
I'm doing really good, just like live TV should be. We're getting everything set up here. The Zero Project Conference for today is actually wrapping up. It's really quiet in this convention center. Stephen, we're set up in this beautiful United Nations building in the heart of Vienna. There's a beautiful Access Tech Live banner behind us. We've got lights, we've got cameras. Our guest is standing by to come on with us. It's a lot of fun. It's a busy day, a lot of work, and no sweats involved whatsoever, I promise.
No, none at all. And thank goodness for makeup. Do you know, before this show, Marc actually applied makeup to me. I think first time you've always wanted to do this.
I did. Well, no, I did it once before at our town hall.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. We did do that. You know what? This is a great event. And just to put you in the picture here, of course, it's just gone 6 p.m. here in Vienna. Of course, noon Eastern, when we're broadcasting to you live on AMI TV and on AMI Audio as well. Yes. So hello to everyone listening on AMI Audio. Hello. I don't know why we're waving, right? It's the radio.
I know. I don't want to do that.
But yeah, it kind of worked. Yeah, we're here today. We are, of course, so excited because this is an amazing event. It's a great opportunity to learn about the work that's being done around the world. And that's really important, around the world, to promote what is going on around accessibility. Now, of course, from our point of view, around tech as well. And Marc, we have a great guest.
We do. Caroline Casey, you're the founder of the Valuable 500. Yeah. You're joining us now here on Access Tech Live. But when it comes to this event, the Zero Project Conference, you're like the maitre d', like the master of ceremonies for everything that goes on. Is this something that you volunteer? Oh my God! Troublemaker. Did you volunteer for this, or is this something that was asked upon you?
From the very first Zero Project Conference, which was, gosh, many years ago, I think it's 13 years ago, they asked me to come in and they didn't kick me out.
What?
They keep having me back.
Oh, my Lord. Well,
you know. Extraordinary with my crazy suits.
Do you come back or do they ask you back?
Thanks for that.
I thought we'd start off as we mean to go.
No, they do ask me back. And it's like coming back into a family, a global family, as you mentioned. Yeah, I think it's nearly like every year I come here, it's like a kind of a hole in the ground to see how things have changed. You know, over 13 years, what has been achieved within the Zero Conference, that's not, let alone what's been achieved in the world outside it, and how change is accelerating at such speed, particularly for what you guys are passionate about, which is tech. It's the thing I'm terrified of because I'm really bad at it. But yeah, I love it. I actually love being here. It's great. It's like my big family.
Tell us about the Valuable 500 a bit, because you got to plug yourself a little bit here. Tell us about the journey that led you to found the Valuable 500 and the significance of that organization, because it's such a global initiative that is just amazing.
Well, how it happened was blood, sweat, tears, and an awful lot of troublemaking. When we came up with the concept of it, first of all, it was to break the CEO's silence in the private sector on disability inclusion. So really, for a long time, I'm nearly 25 years a disability activist. The role that we play is we believe unless business is meaningfully at the table, there's no chance we're going to end global exclusion of people with disabilities and their families. Business needs to be at the table. What business values, society will follow and value. But how can you make the business system value if the very top of the business knows nothing about the value that disability brings? So not one CEO can do it, not one company can do it. So let's go for 500. So we want to make a noise, and I believe in the power of collective. Let's get 500 of the biggest companies in the world with their CEOs to commit at leadership and board level and executive level to scaling change and being accountable for it. So that was the idea. It was born out of real frustration. And I'm really proud of what we achieved, because we launched it at the World Economic Forum, the main stage in Davos. And within 2 years and 4 months, we had built the biggest CEO collective in the world after UN Global Compact. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like we're 22 million employees, 23 trillion in market cap with 64 sectors. It's global. these companies come from all over the world. So what can we do with that? What can you do? It's like the multiplier effect of bringing companies together to do the same thing with the same level of commitment. And then we have a chance, I hope, to see change.
From that initial announcement on stage about the Valuable 500 in Davos to now, what's the reaction from CEOs? What was that initial reaction like compared to, say, today? Is it similar when you walk into a company, when you talk to a CEO about inclusion, about accessibility? Do you get the same response?
Things have changed. There's no doubt things have changed. Look, when you have the Valuable 500, so you've proven something is possible. So now the doors are a little bit more open, And one of the things that people ask for, how did you make it happen? Because it had to be the CEO that had to be responsible for it and to sign and give their photograph so that we could hold everybody to account, including ourselves, by the way. And I would say not one CEO said no to our face. It seems to be in the middle of the business, that is the fear of getting it wrong or the fear of not understanding where is that value coming from. Is it too complex? Is it too complicated? Is it too cost effective? Or mostly fear of just not knowing what to do in a sustainable and meaningful way, and that it isn't some like purple washing. And now I think because you see more CEOs speaking about it, then you're giving permission to more CEOs to talk about it. And I think I love the fact now that I can say, well, why aren't you in the Valuable 500? 500 are. So there's a kind of a curiosity to why now. So we get in the doors, and there's some phenomenal CEOs and phenomenal companies.
You talk about some of that fear, and I'm wondering isn't the purpose a little bit of the Valuable 500 to help alleviate those fears so that other people can talk to other CEOs and other organizations and realize, wait a second, there is value here and there's ways that we can do this and not have to be scared about it.
Totally. I think when we launched it, a man called Peter Grauer, who's the chair of Bloomberg. So we had 5 CEOs on that main stage. And on day one, we had signed up 10 companies. But Peter Grauer was a marvel, honestly, because he was saying, look, I'm very proud of some of the initiatives that we have done around diversity, equity, and inclusion. But actually, I don't know what we've done around disability. And I'll be really honest, I don't even know where to begin.
That's powerful.
And that moment when a CEO of that ilk, in that way, on a platform that was so visible, was willing to admit, I don't know. But what he said is, but I want to know. And I choose to join the Valuable 500 to learn and understand. And I think that, to me, will always remain one of those great moments when somebody says, actually, I don't know, but I know I need to do better and I will do better. So that was a real mic drop. Yeah. And I think that's where we see the permission and the curiosity and the intention of other leaders.
When does it become the Valuable 1,000? 5,000?
Yeah, well,
10,000.
So the most important thing that ever made any of this work was Paul Poman, who was the CEO of Vienna. He was our very first, right? And he's our chairman. And he said to me, I want Valuable 5,000. And I was like, excuse me, are you serious? You got to remember, after it's done, it always seems easy. It wasn't easy. I do want to remind people that we talked to 2,000 companies before we got 500. Yeah. There is over how many? 163 million companies in the world. So what we say is we reach that critical mass. We are well over 500. And so we want to have every company in the world be part of it. Of course we do. But the point was to be made, we need 500 of the most powerful to make it possible, to role model, to share with each other. Because that's the thing, is that they don't all need to start again. They can share their failures, their successes, their unknowns, and you're in it together. So it's that multiplier of effect and belonging and being part of something. That's the thing. So it won't be actually the Valuable 5,000, because then why won't it be the Valuable 5 million? But it will be about increasing that collective and using that 500 to be a ripple effect right out through the business ecosystem. And we use this beautiful sort of metaphor about, murmurations when starlings fly in the sky. Do you know when you see starlings fly? It's everybody's doing their own individual journey, but doing it together. And that's when unstoppable transformation can occur. So yes, I hope every company in the world eventually.
What do you think are some of the challenges that we're probably discussing, obviously here at Zero Project Conference, but in the disability community or even just awareness worldwide? What are the biggest challenges that we're facing today that we're trying to overcome that aren't yet?
Yeah, I mean, we could be here forever, couldn't we?
We've got about 4 or 5 more minutes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the word disability is a tiny word that is trying to represent so many different experiences. Okay. So I'm registered blind. I'm legally blind. And then people go, but you don't look blind. So even understanding what the spectrum of low vision and sight loss and blind loss is, that in itself. So still the understanding. And I love the brave people who put up their hand and go, so what do you mean by disability, right? So that is the first big piece. I truly believe there are 3 big issues that if we can really change, and that's what we're getting our valuable 500 companies to do now, is we need to see disabled talent in the leadership of tomorrow. I mean, and not being there just for disability, but about leading companies, right? That's number 1. And how do we do that and support those leaders? It being into the positions of influence tomorrow. The second is we have very few companies reporting on disability performance. So without data and without harmonized data, what are we going to do with this? So another big challenge to our community is to say to them, we want you to report on 5 harmonized metrics, put them in your annual report. And even if the data isn't good, just put it in so we know, so that we can do something with that. Can you imagine what that does? That proves the materiality of disability to business. And the last is representation. Seriously, we have got to improve authentic, real, accessible representation of people with disability in advertising, in media, in external communications of companies, as well as their internal communications. So if we got those 3 things, and that's what the Valuable 500 are doing, through a synchronized collective action, we're getting our companies to work the same thing, the same time, the same way, with a deadline. And we're calling our deadline Sync 25, which will be on the 3rd of December, 2025. They have to turn up and tell us what they've done. So accountability, those 3 system change barriers that I believe, and then being willing as leaders to have uncomfortable conversations about what you don't know. I think that's, for me, where we see it.
And that's ultimately what Zero Project is all about, isn't it? That's what it's about here, is that accountability, where people come together, they get a chance to share, they get a chance to ask questions, and be brave, ask those questions, and meet disabled people. This is one of the few conferences, I was mentioning this to someone else today, it's one of the few conferences I've been at around disability that there are so many disabled people in the room. That matters.
That matters. And so somebody said to me, this is a very disability conference, meaning I can feel, see, talk with, be around my peers who live and experience disability every day and are working, all of them working, whether it's in business, whether it's in a not-for-profit, whether it's in policies, practices, innovations. Here we're seeing not only the innovators, but the lives that are affecting. And that's powerful because that's real. Because that expression that we know and that statement, nothing about us without us, it's like nothing without us. We're here, right? And we're here, but we're here trying to share and learn together, not making an enemy out of somebody that doesn't know, but bring them in and say, let's learn together. Let me learn your experience or what you don't understand. So help me help you.
Caroline, how can people follow exactly what you're doing? And are we getting an invitation to the summit in Tokyo? That's in.
I'm just saying, just listening to the 2 of you, will you come to Sync 25 and will you report for us from Sync 25?
Andy, Frank, somebody, anybody?
Anyone?
Anyone agree
Who
with
pays the bills?
They've all disappeared.
I mean, we can't really even see it.
We can't even see if they're here. Exactly.
Pure comedy. We might have to do better makeup. I'm currently wearing a gingham green suit and purple shoes, but yes, the best way to get in touch is through the Valuable 500 website. I'm rubbish on social media, I will say that, but I'm very easy to find. Caroline Casey's, there's 3 of them. There's an astrologer, Caroline Casey. There's a footballer, Caroline Casey, and then there's Caroline Casey, the troublemaker. So yes, I respond as much as I can to everything.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for being here.
When we come back after a quick break here at Access Tech Live, making communication more accessible. We're live in Vienna. Join us in just a couple moments.
There's more Access Tech Live to come. Get involved and have your say at Access Tech Live on social media. We'll be right back.